Welcome to Unicorns, a podcast series featuring people who have distinctive characteristics and or experiences that make them truly unique, or a unicorn. We are your hosts, my good friend Alberto Lara.
Hello, and this is my friend Phil Robinette.
And we are what I consider to be unicorns. Why is that, you ask? Because we are both electrical engineers and we both perform stand-up comedy. In my opinion, those are two traits that are so diametrically opposed that they instill disbelief in people. In the upcoming episodes, we will feature guests and their stories, demonstrating how the world is filled with more unicorns than one might think. So sit back, keep your arms and legs inside, remain seated until we come to a complete full stop, and enjoy the ride.
Unicorns is not suitable for children of any age. Unicorns is intended for mature audiences and entertainment purposes only.
Today's episode 4, called Al's Near-Death Experiences, adding the explanation of the time warp continuum slowing down during a catastrophe, such as in a car accident.
I was on a Dodge Ram, going to work. This utility truck, a trash dumpster truck, cut in front of me, and I slammed right into it, and the time slowed down so much that as I hit the truck on impact, everything became slow motion, that everything went up in the air and it just froze. And I remember looking at it going, wow, I feel like I'm in zero gravity. I feel like I'm in outer space. For a split second, I even saw the windshield crack, like if it was lightning. You know how lightning comes down from the sky? I saw the windshield crack in slow motion, crack. I was thinking, that is beautiful. And then I started thinking, this is a utility truck. It has probably protruding objects that's going to probably pierce through my brain, and then I'm out. When I thought that and I started thinking about reality, that's when time sped up again, and everything went into fast motion, and then I came out. I was trying to reach for the lever so I could recline the seat back, and I couldn't quite get it. My arm was just dangling everywhere. I picked it up, and then
It didn't hurt? It didn't hurt yet?
Not yet. I didn't start feeling pain until I was in the ambulance, and when the paramedics got there, I finally was able to get out through the passenger seat in the back in the cab. And when the paramedics saw me, it was like, "Are you okay?" And I raised my arm. I was like, "Well, other than this." My arm was hanging down at 90 degrees from mid-forearm, and the ulna and the radius were sticking out, protruding through my skin, and this blood stream from both bones was just streaming out like a beautiful little fountain of blood. And I even did this. Like that.
Al's got a visual of whipping his forearm around in circles, like pasties on a topless dancer. The only injury you suffered was your forearm shiver.
Yes.
And during the slow motion part,
Yes.
after the collision, slow motion, did you think you were going to die?
The thought of my kids came to my mind. That was the only thing.
Okay, so you knew something was terribly wrong, and you were hoping that you would see your kids again someday.
Yes. Definitely. But the coolest thing that I thought about the experience was the way time slows down. But what amazed me is just how the mind works and slows things down to where, and you know, athletes do that. You know, like have you seen those ping pong players where they hit a little ball 15 feet away from the table, but when they interview them, they say that they see the ball the size of a basketball.
Yeah.
And it's a tiny little white ball, and it's amazing how the mind can adapt to urgencies and emergencies to slow it down so we can to help ourselves.
Baseball players do that. They can see the stitches on a baseball.
I've heard about that.
Does it spook you to talk about it now?
Yeah, every time I think about it, I get chills because I think, how did I get so lucky?
We're at Wing Daddy's North Mesa. We're having the wings with trash can sauce. And to accentuate the deliciousness, there's grated cheese and jalapenos and diced tomatoes on top.
Right.
Okay, so now take me back. You're 5 years old or so. You're at a house, and there's a loaded handgun. Pick it up from that point. Now, do you remember this, or you were told this later?
Oh, no, I remember this.
Okay.
I was so curious.
After you walk outside, you see the gun.
Yep. So, and I pick up the revolver, and I start looking at it very curiously, and I start turning it, you know, pulling the hammer back, and just
And which way is the gun aimed at this point?
away from me because
Okay.
I know the severity of the damage that it could make, but then my curiosity takes over now it's supposed to be empty, so I pull the trigger and it clicks. It's like, oh cool, what a cool little mechanism, and I pull the trigger again and it just click. I'm like, wow, what does this look like from the other end? So I look over because I'm thinking it's empty. Look over, I'm looking at it, I'm squeezing the trigger.
Okay, you're looking down the barrel of the gun,
Down
literally.
the barrel of the
Okay.
gun. So I'm trying to get a look at the rifling, and all of a sudden my head gets hit. Caught me by surprise. I'm like, what did I do? And my uncle took it away, and he started scolding me. I was like, but it's empty. And he pointed it to the ground, and he shot it, and it actually shot. Like,
So if you had clicked the trigger, pulled the trigger one more time, it would have.
he would have killed me. I would have killed myself.
Were the first two?
And yeah, the whole thing was just one round. That was
Okay, so the first two were empty chambers.
yeah.
So you were playing. Actually, you were playing Russian roulette.
Yes, with that knowing, right? I think
So
it,
how many seconds were you away from dying?
I was probably no more than one. No more than 1 second.
Okay, did you start crying? Tell me what happened next. You start crying?
So
or what?
when I heard the shot, that's when I realized how stupid I was, and that's like 1 second later that my head would have been blown off. It's like, why am I here? Like, I've been saved so many times from my own stupidity. It makes me think, poor guardian angel. He's probably looking at me like, I need a drink.
Right. Did you remember that? Like, how old were you again?
That time I was probably around 5 years old because my sister was born. We were back over here at my uncle's ranch.
Yeah, I can remember stuff when I was 5, and I would remember staring down the barrel of a gun, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You didn't change your way of life because you're too young.
Right.
yeah. Okay, so did it come into play with the other two experiences, the gun episode,
Oh man.
in your thoughts or in your when you were reliving things?
Oh, yeah. The
So
time
you remember
that-
the gun episode?
The time that I remembered the gun episode was when I was wait. Oh my gosh, everything has happened since I must have been 6 because we're still I was going to school, preschool in Mexico. My father and mother were working across the street from the school that I was attending, and my mother told me, "You wait here." She would always say, "You wait here. You don't leave," because the sidewalks are over there, like a foot wide from the wall, and then there's a street. It was after school. My friend decided to go. I was like, "No, wait," because my mom and I was thinking about going, but something in me told me, "Stop."
Danger.
Just told me stop.
This was after the gun episode.
Oh yeah. Something made me stop because I stopped and I looked over, and right as I looked over, my friend in pre-K got bam with a car. The kid flew 20, 30 feet. His little ragdoll body, he hit the asphalt and slid across it. It was a summer, like, hot day. It was not a pretty picture.
At this point, this is the part of the program where I go, "What the fuck?" Or for you friends of ours south of the border, como chingado.
You know what I feel horrible about, though? Is
This ought to be good.
well, 'cause when my friend in that pre-case ran away, I felt like I could have stopped him, and I didn't.
Ran away and ended up dying.
Yes. No,
He
on top of
died.
that, he didn't die. He was paralyzed. I saw him probably like 10 years later when I went back to Mexico one time to visit my family, and I saw him on a wheelchair. Him and I made eye contact, and he knew who I was, and I knew who he was, and I felt like he was telling me, I should have stayed with you.
Oh, so he was not giving you the stink eye. He
No,
was like,
he was like, give me, like, he regret what he did because we were told, stay here. Don't move, because, I mean, cars were passing by there like like it's a highway, and it was just a very narrow street. So there's no sidewalk. There's nothing really guarding anybody, pedestrians, from cars.
Okay, so you had an impulse at first, even a brief one, to follow him and go.
Yes, I was going to.
Okay, so and something stopped you immediately.
Yeah. And it wasn't me. It was divine. Like when I say divine, a very hard, strong conviction.
For those of you scoring at home, or if you're alone.
We have both kids would have been ground meat that day.
But you're going to repeat that. We're up to 4 now for those of you scoring at home, or if you're alone. I stole that from SportsCenter. And this is your near-death experience. Tell us what happened.
I felt my chest burning. It was burning so bad that I gained a little bit of consciousness to realize that my body was going through these spasmic episodes. And then after that, it just stopped, I lost complete consciousness because it was all black. It was just complete, like the
Okay, so you were
blackest
conscious.
darkness.
You felt conscious, but
Yeah.
you were in fact unconscious. You think?
No, well, I knew because I was trying to think, well, where are my hands? And I couldn't feel my hands. I couldn't feel my feet.
Okay, so you had thoughts. You had. Okay, keep going.
And I was like, where is my body? I feel weightless.
Okay. Did you feel disembodied? Were you floating?
And that's what settled in next. I
Okay.
thought, I don't feel anything. I don't feel the bed pressurized against my body. I don't feel me laying down or standing up. I felt void, but yet I felt in one piece, and it was not frightening either. I felt weightless. Like when you're in water, you just feel like you're
Peace.
weightless. Peace.
Okay.
Tranquil. I didn't feel any.
Okay, so you felt like you had no body.
Right.
Okay, so then what?
But yet I felt complete. I felt like I was in one piece, and all of a sudden, like when the clouds clear, and you see just the light come through the dark clouds. And then it cleared out so much that it's like when you look up in a very dark sky at a full moon, a bright full moon, but only the light was so much softer and there's nothing around. It's just complete blackness, just the blackest darkness. You can't fathom it. And so this light is shining on me, and I'm feeling now like I am flying because I can't see anything but the light. I can't see my limbs. I can't feel anything. All I can see is the light and me feeling the sensation of weightless. And I feel that I can get close to it too just by thinking. And I'm thinking, wow, this must be how it feels to fly. Just by thought, you move about the atmosphere. And I felt that I could go through it. And I felt like it was asking me, you can come over right now and you'll be okay. You will not.
The light was asking you to come over to it.
No, the light was telling me, you can come over if you want, and it'll all be over, and there won't be any pain, there won't be anything. It's like the greatest way to die. And I felt like, wait a minute, my kids. And so I just stopped, and I just admired the light because I knew right there I wasn't going to go through. I wasn't even going to try.
It's some unfinished business back here on Earth.
Yeah.
So you felt like you were not on Earth, obviously.
Yeah, no, I was not in my body.
Did you think or have any thoughts about heaven, the concept or the word heaven at this point?
I never figured that's where heaven was.
Oh, you said I'm in heaven.
Well, I felt like I could go to heaven. I felt like I was a step away from it.
Okay, all right. You knew what it was. And so you said, I'm not ready. I have unfinished business. I have my kids. And you were given a choice to turn around and go back?
Yes.
You had a choice.
Oh, and not only that, I knew at that point I was out of my body, and I knew, and when it told me you will not experience death, I felt, okay, so no pain.
But you could have gone if you wanted to.
Yes.
That's what he was telling you. You would not experience. Okay. Sorry.
That I would not experience pain, that I would not experience the fear of dying that a lot of people see. And I felt like wow, what, this is the best way to die for anybody. I was like, I could just cut this thing close right now. But then I thought about everything I have. I was like, I still got time.
So how you lingered for a while when you decided you weren't going to go to the other side. You were going to come back here.
Yeah.
And so you lingered, admiring the sensation, if you will.
Beautiful. I basked in it. So when I knew that I wasn't going to go through, I stood there admiring it, and I didn't know how long it was going to last. I was like, it can't be wasting its time with me, like, for long. I was thinking, I'm not going to stare away. I'm not going anywhere. I love this. And then it made me understand few people see this light without dying.
You literally saw the light. It told you, or you sensed the message, maybe, few people see this light and live. Did you end up waking up in your body eventually, or what?
Right before that, though, I was looking at the light going, how long is this going to last? Well, however long, whatever. And I just said, well, maybe I should greet it. Maybe I should say hi. And I just said, hello, Father. And then that's what it told me. Few people see this light without dying. And it just made me feel that. Not in words. It was just like an emotion.
Sensation. You could sense the message.
Like a vibe.
Yeah.
And it closed off, and it started off very slow. And the more it closed off, like it was just kind of zooming out like a little dot until it got so small it disappeared. It just like a fade out.
Is that when you woke up in your body?
No, I was still there, but immediately I did not lose consciousness because I was like, wow, where did it go? Like, wow. And then I started feeling just like a fading, the pressure of the bed. I started feeling my limbs like, wow, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back.
You were inside a physical being again.
Yeah, and that's when I felt my covers, I felt my body, and I got up and I was very grateful. Such a beautiful experience, but I had been wanting to change my ways since my son was born, and it took so long because I would fall down, get back up, try, fail, until I finally started getting the hang of my emotional state. But it took.
Did you happen to notice the time? Is there any way you could, when you woke up, did you see the clock? And
it was daytime, which blew my mind because the darkness I saw. Even if you cover yourself with a pillow and you open your eyes, you could see some inkling of.
How did this affect you? Am I to infer that this near-death paranormal experience where you literally saw the light made you a better person in the long run? In many ways.
And feel better myself.
Okay, yeah, a better person.
The euphoria is there, yeah.
Now.
Well, one time during our mischievous day, again, we were stealing, and I was running on the back end of the building, but the building was elevated, so I was running along a wall, like a retaining wall, but it was like, I'm going to say like probably between 15 and 20 feet high. It was along this wall, very narrow.
Oh, yes, I remember this one. Keep going.
And there was some protrusion from the wall, I guess, that the box that I was carrying hit it, and it bounced me off. Now, I lost consciousness after that completely. All I remember is seeing my friends in awe, looking at me. And of course, when I realized, I was like, let's go. And I kept running, and I just didn't see them running. I was like, what happened? I was like, dude, you just did a somersault in midair and landed on your feet. Like,
with the still holding the box.
Oh, all the contents were still in the box completely.
And you had no recollection of it. The 1 second, you're running down this wall with a box full of stolen shit. When the box hits a protrusion in the wall, and the next thing you know, you're on your feet going, let's get out of here.
I remember thinking, wow, this is going to hurt when I was going back, because I felt my body go backward, and I knew there was nothing behind me. And I remember thinking, ouch. Like, okay. And then it went black. And then after that, I woke up.
And you're standing on your feet going, let's get out of here.
Yeah, and I looked and I was like...
You did a complete somersault, holding the box, and
it
landed
told
on your
me
feet.
I went my feet went over my head.
Okay, we're going to call that a half.
Okay.
We're up to 4.5. Quattro e media.
Okay, sounds good.
Quattro e media. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. Cuatro y media.
So, I'm going to set the scene here. Okay,
But-
you had just met your first wife.
Yes,
Okay.
I just met her.
So you're in your 20s.
Yes.
Okay, and you're into weightlifting because you're a wrestler in high school.
I was competing in a bench press competition.
Oh, okay, I stand corrected. So, you're actually in competition. Okay. So you're laying down, you're going to bench press because you're about to enter a competition. So you've 2 goals at this solo weightlifting experience. You want to get pumped up for your date
Yeah.
to the woman you're going to marry someday,
Yes.
and you had a competition, a bench pressing coming up.
Right.
So practice was needed.
Oh, and I'm pumped. I'm ready.
Okay.
I don't need a spot.
You walk into this weight room that's completely empty, okay, a local Y, and you feel like you don't need a spotter.
Because I've done it before. I was just going to do 315 4 times.
Okay, there was a difference in the weight bench that you didn't think was significant. Tell us about that. You lay down and you're lifting a lot of fucking weight, and take it from there.
The previous benches had a hook at around neck level where your head is about, where one can rack the weights if they get stuck halfway. They had remodeled and replaced those racks with ones that didn't have that hook there. And when I saw that, I was already on my 3rd rep.
I'm sorry. Instead of hooks to grab the bar up high and intermediate level, they only had them up high.
Right.
And you were assuming they still had the intermediate level when you
Yes.
started.
Yes.
And about your 3rd rep, you noticed you were gone.
I was getting tired, and I didn't look at that because I don't notice detail like that. So then I'm
So
on my
it-
last rep. I immediately, when I knew that I wasn't going to be able to pick it up, I immediately started directing the weight towards the hooks, which is at my neck level now. And now that I look to the side, there's no hooks. Now 315 pounds are coming down on my neck. I'm thinking, how am I going to get out of this? And
So you have a bar with 350 pounds
yeah,
resting squarely on your neck.
evenly, right in the middle.
Okay, then
And I thought, okay, let's try to see if I can direct it otherwise, but the weight was already coming down way too fast. It all happened so quick because usually I just completely release the bar when I put it on the hooks. So that when I looked over and I didn't see the hooks, that bar was coming down free weight on my neck. And it was just so spontaneously that I thought, this is how it's going to end? Because there's no way out from there, not in that such a quick and heavy situation. And I started gasping for air because the weight was crushing my windpipe, and it was whistling. Every time I'd gasp for air, it was already doing that. And then I just remember thinking, okay, I'm done. And I said, I'm going to let it go. And I just said really quick, Father God, I am sorry for all my errors.
okay.
I'm coming home. And then my life immediately
That's what I'm
flashed before my eyes. I saw moments when I was a baby, and I remember thinking, wow, that was me. Like, oh my
Your
God.
entire life.
My whole life, I couldn't believe
None
it.
of the other experiences that you had, you saw your life.
It was such a Rolodex, like rolling a Rolodex, and you saw all these pictures quick, fast, and in a hurry up to the point that I met my future ex-wife there.
Okay, so your life flashed before your eyes.
Completely, and I remember thinking, this is amazing. Stuff that I don't even remember was like, oh my God, I remember, wow, I can't believe I forgot about. I mean, just
Do
incredible.
you remember that stuff now?
No, I don't even remember what I remembered.
Okay, but you remember thinking this is everything.
Oh,
wow,
everything.
Yeah, okay.
Up to the point where I went up to ask her, went up to my wife at the time, or my soon-to-be wife at the time, and then after right there, that's when my throat opened up and my lungs just got inflated with air, and of course, it took me a split second, not a full second, a split second to recognize, because for that split second, I was still like in awe of the experience of life flashing before your eyes. I had heard about it, but I had never experienced it.
It's true.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
So the air started rushing back in.
Yeah.
And then?
And I realized it, and I was like, oh my God, and I opened my eyes, and one of the sides of the weights are on the floor, and the other one I look over, and there's this little, couldn't have been...
A preteen.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. He was in his early teens, preteen, and he was holding the weight as hard as he could. And I looked at him, and he just looked at me with his eyes wide open. He's like, "Get out!" So I rolled towards him. I got out of the way, and he let the weight go. And I asked him, I just hugged him. I remember hugging him, and I was breathing hard, and I was like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And then after I caught my breath, and he was happy, like remember Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 2? He's such an innocent character, and he's so happy all the time. He's like, okay. This little kid was so happy that I was hugging him because he looked up to me. And he said the only reason he went into the gym was because he saw me after his friends and him were leaving after playing basketball, and he told his friends, "Hold on, I'm gonna go see how this guy works out because he's really strong." This kid who looked up to me.
He followed you in the gym.
Followed me, and during that time while he was following me, all this stuff was happening to me. So we got there just in time to get the weight off my neck and save my life. Later on, could have been several weeks, several months, but when I asked about him,
soon thereafter.
His friends told me that he had gotten there had been a car crash and he had died in the car crash, and it just baffled me. Jeez. And to this day, it makes me like, wow.
Wow.
And so it's such a great power that is around me. Everywhere I go, I'm surrounded by the greatest people. You are one of them. In my whole life, I've been surrounded by great individuals that have helped me accomplish things that I wouldn't be able to. And I feel so undeserving at the same time. I feel this great gratitude that I need to respect even what I say.
I call that a transference of souls. His soul was transferred to you.
Wow.
And after it transferred, you vanquished.
Wow. That's deep.
Your soul was vanquishing, and he transferred his to you.
Wow.
The transference took 2 weeks, or however long.
Yeah.
Till the accident. That's my theory.
I thought that was pretty intense when you told me that kid passed away after the fact.
Yeah.
He helped you.
Oh, it blew my mind.
My ears started ringing right now.
Your ears are ringing?
Yeah.
Oh, that...
Isn't that called tinnitus or something? Tinnitus.
Tinnitus, there you go.
Thank you. Joining us on today's podcast is...
Connie.
Who has been my assistant for 20 some odd years.
Yes.
And...
David.
Who has not been my assistant for 20 some odd years. They are joining us today and going to regale us with tales of their near-death experience, the theme of today's podcast.
The closest I came to a near-death experience is at Red Sands on a Predator, and we came up to a steep hill, and I said, "Don't go up that hill," and we fucking fell off the cliff, and I thought that...
Who was driving?
Oh... Numbnuts, yes.
Okay, numbnuts.
We'll call numbnuts.
Numbnuts. And I said, "Don't make the turn with me because we're going to fall." And what does he do? He makes a turn.
Oh, my God.
But you go with your gut feeling. You know something's going to happen. And sure enough, we fucking fell off that cliff. Tumbled down this sandy cliff. I thought the quad was going to hit us. The quad's tumbling down on us. And there's jagged rocks at the end. And
If it had hit you, it would have killed you.
yes.
How close did it come to hitting you?
Well, we landed on some jagged rocks, and the quad luckily landed on the side of us. You know why? The reason why he didn't get hurt is because I broke the landing.
Son of a bitch.
Cocksucker.
It happens.
So
Don't go to Red Sands.
I had a Reuben sandwich for lunch yesterday.
Did you survive? Did you make it?
It was a near-death experience.
Yes, exactly.
When you knew you were in danger or potential danger.
My whole life flashed before my eyes.
Means
Yeah,
that's the
that's
case.
the only time that I've experienced that your whole life flashes before your eyes.
Okay.
Coming up on episode 5, we will have special guests, the one and only my father, William J. Robinette, otherwise known as Billy, author of 7 books. Yes, count them 7, or is it 8? I will be in Oregon visiting my dad, and through the magic of modern-day electronics, we will be having him as a special guest. Al will be conducting through Zoom. We will be talking to Billy about his swashbuckling days. Unicorns is brought to you by Opulent Works, created by Phil Robinette, executive producer Alberto Lara.